I recently started a new job. Unfortunately, I don't feel comfortable saying where because I had made an enemy on Craigslist, and he had actually called my boss at a previous job and caused me to look really bad. And I don't want that to happen here, so I'm not going to say where at before I resolve the matter. But my first week at the job, I had almost I had almost overslept because of a weird dream that I had. Oh, I only had 4 hours to sleep that day, and I was really worried about oversleeping. And so I had a dream that I had overslept and I had lost my job. And well, first of all, when I went to sleep, I wasn't sleeping very tightly because I kept worrying I would oversleep. And then I had the dream that I did oversleep and I lost my job. But as soon as I dreamt that I lost the job, I lost all sense of pressure, and so I slept very tightly for the rest of the night. And then I woke up and I realized I woke up in time. So it was really good. It was kind of weird how if I had not had the dream that I had overslept, I probably wouldn't have slept nearly as tightly for the rest of the night. So it turned out very good. It was kind of funny the way it turned out. It makes me realize that I have all sorts of interesting dreams from time to time. Many years ago, when I first cleaned up my diet, I used to eat a very atrocious diet, and I had stopped drinking soda and started cleaning up my diet. It took me about 2 years to completely clean up my diet, starting with soda. And during the whole time, I kept having bad dreams that I had relapsed onto soda, onto other things. And it was kind of interesting because during the dream, I might have dreamt that I drank a soda, and I would feel really bad about it. I was like, especially because it had been some time since I had stopped drinking soda. It might have been 2 or 3 or 4 years, and oh my god, I threw away all this time that I've relapsed, and it seemed like I couldn't stop drinking it again in the dream. And then I would will myself to wake up because I didn't want it to be real, and then I would really will myself to wake up. And oftentimes, when I would will myself, I would just wake up. So it turned out to be okay. I had a similar problem with car accidents. I had a serious car accident a little over 2 years ago now, and I took a break from driving, and then I bought a Mitsubishi Lancer, and I've been driving it for a year and a half now. But when I first got the car, I kept having dreams that I would get into a car accident. And even when I wasn't dreaming, during the day, I would have these flashbulb memories of that accident and the few seconds leading up to the accident. And it was just sheer terror when I first got the car. But it made me realize that well, the other reason I was having such nightmares was that I was also living in the car. Right now, at least, I have an office to live in. But at the time, I was living in the car, and I didn't want to lose the car for that reason as well. So it became a very high stakes event every time I had to drive, especially if I had to drive an unfamiliar place. Actually, I almost got into a fight with somebody one time because I had been sleeping in my car, and it was 2, 3 a.m., and I had taken a ton of melatonin before going to sleep, and somebody woke me up to say that they needed to clean the parking lot, and when I looked, he had his truck out, and it made it very difficult to get out of that parking lot, and I kind of argued with him. I'm really tired, and so it was just weird. Anyways, it made me realize how scared I was of driving at the time, and unfortunately, I was living in the car, so things like that would come up so often. And I remember having dreams that I would get into a. I also had a dream one time that I was sleeping in the car, and I woke up in the hospital because somebody had hit my car while I was sleeping, and so it just became a source of terror for me. When I was working on my PhD, I had gotten taken advantage of financially by a girl I was dating, and I took a year's break off of dating. And after I started dating again, one time I had a bad dream. I dreamt that I had married this girl And she, at this point, I had started writing computer games, and I had a lot of hardware. And I dreamt that this girl had some kind of a habit or some drug habit or maybe an affair, and I would come home and all my stuff would be gone. She would have taken it and sold it in order to support her drug habit or something like that, or my computer, I would be ready to write a game and she had sold my computer, and then my mattress was gone, and then finally the last straw was that my pillow was gone, and I got into a fight with her, and it was probably just a flashback of the experience I had when I was working on my PhD. But it hasn't all been bad. I've had dreams that have inspired me to do various things. One of my favorite ways to study a new topic is to read about it just before bed and then sleep on it, because I would often have a dream on the topic. So when I first learned about machine learning, I was reading about AlphaGo and other machine learning topics, and I had a little hard time comprehending it. Especially, I was reading an article about a machine that could play various video games by analyzing the pixels and how combinations of pixels would do this, and so I read it before bed one night, and I went to sleep, and then during the night I dreamt that I was in a spaceship and we were looking for life on Jupiter. And I was flying around Jupiter, and all of a sudden an alarm sounds in the spaceship. And I take a look, and it turns out to be a false alarm because there's a bunch of cloud formations that look like a face. And then in my dream, the pixels that indicated something might be life lit up, and I was like, oh, that's how it works. Different combinations get a certain score, and so the dream helped me kind of comprehend what I was reading. It really helped me digest what I was reading, is what I'm trying to say. One time, this was shortly after I had broken up with the girl when I was working on my PhD, who had taken advantage of me. I had a dream, and in the dream, I came to the realization that I had a number of hobbies that made it difficult for me to meet the right match. Because at the time I liked to collect coins, and when people see that I have a lot of coins, they falsely come to the conclusion that I have a lot of money, so they want to get to they want to connect with me just so they could take advantage of me financially. What other hobbies did I have at the time? I used to obviously I already started eating very healthy. That used to be a big barrier. It used to be especially probably because of the age range of people I was meeting, and also because at the time healthy eating wasn't as popular as it is today. Now that I'm meeting older and wiser people, and the fact that 10 years have passed since then and people have started catching on to healthy eating, it hasn't been as big a problem. But I had two hobbies that really got in the way, the coin collecting and the healthy eating. And I remember thinking to myself, I gotta find some other hobby that doesn't come with these problems. And I came to the conclusion that if I start writing some computer games, people could sit down and play the games, and then we could have a conversation. It hasn't turned out very well, though. The problem is that I work with software regularly at my job, and my coworkers, they don't want to hear about more software after they get off of work. At my new job here, it's not as bad as a deal, but it's still a problem, and hasn't turned out very well. So about a year ago, I started viewing outer space. You guys saw when I was viewing Mars and Saturn and Jupiter in opposition. I tried to view Uranus and Neptune, but it was a little bit more difficult than I had thought with the equipment that I had. It's done a little bit better. It doesn't have the problem of the coin collecting, with people thinking that I have a lot of money to burn. It doesn't have the problem of the healthy eating. I never really tried to force my healthy eating on other people. The problem is that actually I think it's the other way around. A lot of people I deal with can't accept me for what I'm eating. I take on the attitude of live and let live. You eat what you want, I eat what I want, and let's just try to not talk about it. It's kind of funny because you would never sit down at a table with somebody and discuss, oh, do you take certain drugs for heart disease or so and so on and so forth. But it seems to be okay to talk about your diet, even though it might be part of your plan for conditions that you have. If I didn't eat the way I did, I would have severe autism, and so I've controlled it with diet. But people can't seem to say, you would never go up to somebody and ask them what drugs you take for autism. That's just not very socially acceptable. But when the drug comes in the form of a diet, it seems to be perfectly okay to talk about and to pick on and to make fun of and to say, oh, you don't have to do that. You can eat junk in moderation. You would never do that to somebody who's taking a drug. Oh, you can miss your drug in moderation. You would never say that. So food kind of falls into this weird category. I don't know. But the point I'm trying to make, it was a huge barrier for me to talk about. Yeah, I had this dream that I needed to come up with a new hobby to make new connections, and it has come and gone. It has come and gone. There have been benefits to it, and it wasn't a complete loss, but it was more than just do this and it will work. But it was still a good dream that I had that one time. How about you guys? Have you ever had a dream that inspired you, or that gave you fear, or that motivated you, or something that you dreamt about and it later happened? Thanks for watching.